Ticket prices have gone up for the first time in 8 years at Dean Court. I just don't see what all the big fuss is about. Um, on the show, I wanted to address that. Matt also has his say, and really the amount of good work that Bill Foley and Jim Frevola in particular is really doing at this football club. So let's look at these ticket prices. Now, in the ticket prices, it does include a £14 charge, and that's for 2 games for the female team. Now, a lot of fans have actually got on the back of this and gone, I don't want to go and see the women play, the women's team. And I think that's incredibly sad because a club is successful at all levels. So it's not just the men's game, it's not just the men's team. To actually be a successful football club, we need to be able to fill out a new Dean Court, which was mentioned several times in Jim Favola's interview. To be honest, he did say new stadium quite a lot more times than he did a refurbished Dean Court. So I'm guessing that that is probably the way they are looking at this moment in time. But personally, I cannot see the issue with, firstly, the £14 charge for the 2 women's games. £14 is a minimal amount of money, really, for most football fans. When you are paying, and the prices have gone up to £608 in the North Stand, opposed to 550. That is an increase in 10.5%. Thank you to Kieran Maguire for these statistics as well. I'm in no way a mathematician, but personally, the women's game is really, really important. I'll tell you why. Firstly, we need to be able to fill out Dean Court. But secondly, it is for the whole progression of the football club. There's an extra revenue stream in. Now, we recently played Maidenhead United in a women's game, women's cup game it was. Now, I think that what the football club are going to plan to do is to try and get the women's team into the Women's Super League. And that'd be great for this football club because that will bring increased revenue. It'll bring increased attention. The women's game might still be growing in this country, but it has already grown elsewhere. Look at the United States, where, of course, Bill Foley and Jim Fola are from. It's something that really is close to their heart, and fair play to them for championing this. In this, I think it's a great incentive for women to get into football. And why not pack out Dean Court for 2 games? 2 games. Maybe the wording could have been a little bit better. Some fans have said that. That's fair enough. You can understand that sense. But, to moan about this £14 charge, which is a minimal amount, let's look at other teams in the Premier League. Fulham, are paying well over the odds. Arsenal, a lot bigger stadium, again, well over the odds. You can look at most football clubs in this division and, see that they're paying over the odds and more than what we are paying at AFC Bournemouth. I just think it's a bit. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Look at gas and electric prices. I don't want my gas and electric price to go up, but it has. It has. I've got no choice about that. My gas has gone up, tenfold. I don't get half as much joy out of my gas and electric as I do as my football club. And if £14 is, and what they've done is they've been completely transparent. They've said, right, okay, this amount is going to the women's team. That's an excellent thing. That's brilliant because personally, they've told you exactly what is happening with that money that you are putting in to the football club as part of this £608 in the North Stand. Yes, the prices are a little bit different elsewhere. The prices are probably appearing on the screen, and I'll also get right now the prices for last season to appear on the screen, and also you'll be able to see the difference right now as well. Um, I think, if we are going to grow as a football club, the men's game is important. It's important that we stay in the Premier League. It's important that we keep growing, we keep doing things the right way, for the men's game. But the women's game is also important. Look at the academy. We also need, and this is where the women's game comes into it as well, because the women's game will also be, um, bear the fruits of the actual academy as well. And what we would be probably looking to do, and I'm sure that Jim Frevola can give us a little bit of input on this, is actually to get ourselves up to Category 1 academy. That will attract better players across the globe to AFC Bournemouth. It will raise our name. It will also provide, the very, very best scouts. The scouts will come to us. It will be, players will want to stay here. They'll see this as a good place to come. And the women's game will bear the fruits of that as well. And that's great. And then the women's game will be able to, because it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, what it will do is that will then feed back into the club, which can then be spent on the men's game. And then you have that ecosystem, which maybe we haven't had for some time. And that's why they're looking to make these changes. I, I just fathom, you look at other teams around the leagues, their ticket prices have gone up by way more than 10.5%. Way more. There's teams, and I know some stupid fans. I have never, never, never turned round and not said, I'm originally from Reading. And some stupid fans decide to jump on this fact all the time. Oh, you're from Reading. You grew up watching. Yes, maybe I did. But when I come down here in 2008, I took an interest in my local team. And that's why, I consider myself, I'm a true fan of this football club. But you look at their ticket prices. Somebody bought it up, and I thought, right, okay, I'll go and have a look at their website. And their ticket prices have gone up as well. They've gone up around about 10%, and they've just been relegated to League One, for fuck's sake. I'm sorry, but I'm getting sick and tired of, being criticised for that. But also, I'm sick and tired of people turning round and, Jim Frevola is great. He communicates with our fan base on Twitter, on, in any medium. He's invited fans to speak to him in person. I doubt many of these fans are actually meeting with him in person, because let's be honest, Jim Frevola knows his stuff. He knows how this business is going to work. He knows how this business is going to profit after a while. I can understand constructive criticism, but, some of the criticism has been absolutely diabolical. And I'm just so disappointed, that we, together, anything is possible. That is our motto. And and it's a small segment of fans, to be honest. It's a small segment of fans that are getting nasty and quite abusive towards a man who's just come in, and has done a really, really good job, engages with the fans. He's not a nice person to actually speak to, um, and people are jumping all over him because they're fed up, because they don't want to pay £14 for 2 women's tickets. Well, don't renew then. Don't renew then. Give your season ticket to somebody who does want to go and has been waiting for ages to actually go to AFC Bournemouth matches. That's my view on it. Honestly, it's an absolute joke, because that money will be going back into this football club. It will be going into the women's game. That will in turn help the academy. We'll get, if we can show that the women's game is also benefiting from an academy, we'll probably get, say, Category 1 sooner. Everything will be pulling in the right direction. More people will be supporting this club. More people will be taking more interest in this club. Our fan base need to realise that we are not just confined to Bournemouth anymore. We need to attract, to actually grow this football club, we need to attract fans from outside this area. And that means from Somerset, from the rest of Dorset, maybe even from Hampshire. We could go even further afield. But yeah, moaning about 10.5% is ridiculous. Matt's a lot more calmer than I am on this fact, because I feel that I feel so strongly that it's just a bit ridiculous. So Matt is going to have his say now.
Um, to be fair, Craig, if you look at the increases that the club have done with the season tickets, I mean, I don't really know what the major issue is and why there's such an uproar. I mean, if we look back to the last increase, which was 8 years ago, there's clubs that sometimes do yearly increases. I mean, I'm sure there's not many clubs out there that have done a 8-year freeze on the season tickets. Um, Obviously, no one likes a price hike. I mean, no one wants to pay more money for things, but I mean, at the end of the day, everyone with a season ticket is going to pay it anyway, whether it's up 10% or down 10%. They're going to pay the money. Um, a lot of I know, like you read on Twitter, there's a lot of stuff on there about the Americans starting to money grab this, that, and the other. I don't think they are at all. I think they've just evaluated the whole process and realised that maybe a little extra should be put onto the season ticket. And I'm sure if the season tickets have gone up, I'm sure the gate tickets will go up. The uh, tickets that you buy with your points. So I'm sure everyone's gonna be affected by it. But I just don't see where this great uproar's come from. Um, it's a lot of there's a lot of stuff on Twitter and stuff that I just don't think is really necessary. Whether it was last year the prices went up, or whether it's in 2 years' time the prices went up. So at some point there's going to be a price increase. So I'm just quite happy, and I think a lot of us are fortunate that we've had 8 years where there hasn't been any increases, and yeah, instead of paying 550 now in the North Stand, it's going to be 608. Yeah, I know it's £58 increase, and they're not happy about the £14 for the ladies games, which I mean, if you get a couple of ladies games for free with your season ticket included in that price, great. I think that's great for the ladies game, and if you want to go, then you get a free gate receipt. So yeah, I just personally don't know what the whole issue is with it.
And there we are. That is Matt's say. So do hit the subscribe button, hit the bell button. Let me know what you think. If you disagree with this £14 charge, and tell me exactly why you are so adamant, not to pay it. If your season ticket was going up to £608 without this charge in it, would you be happy? It seems there is a cost of living crisis in this country, but 8 years, we haven't had an increase. Now, if we had an increase, of, say, for example, 3% a season, which isn't unknown, you would be paying more than £608 for next season. And, I'm no mathematician, but anybody who isn't, has got a basic grip, will be able to tell you that. Will be able to tell you that. So, personally, it is what it is. And I think it's good for the whole club. I think it's great to get women into football. I'm a big advocate of that. And it's so disappointing why fans are just jumping and saying, no, 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 well, we shouldn't be paying this extra, this £14 extra. Can I be? Because personally, I think it benefits us as a whole club. That's only my opinion. That's only my opinion. Um, Everybody is entitled to theirs, but I am giving my opinion on this channel, and I'd be interested to hear what you've got to say. But until the next show, up the cherries, and we'll see you then. Thank you for joining us.